Welcome back, you beautiful brave hearts all around the world. Okay. Tomorrow is our last day of the Whole Life Health Coach Certified. In this course, we have only 3 people that are actually taking it, okay, to do it for a business. We've got about 12 people that came because guess what? They wanted their coconut cracked from the inside out, and we definitely have done it, okay? If there's something I do well, and that help people to find unconditional love, self-love for themselves. But guess what? We're here to talk with Dr. Sage Wolf about Wolf Non-Surgical, and I'll get to it in a minute, okay? But I want to tell you something. People are beautiful. And I mean, all people are beautiful, but not all people have beautiful beliefs. And there are people that do things in their life because they come from survival mode, okay? And they feel threatened, and it's mainly the beliefs that they run. Think about it. Look at the wars that are on. Look at all the fear that people have. I'm going to tell you something right now. You see this shirt? It's all about the money, honey, okay? And I'm going to tell you something. Whether you think this is a pitch or not, find me another clinic, okay, that actually will do body work on people, no matter if they're booked for surgery, if they limp, and nobody knows what to do about it. They have a cane, they have a walker, they have a wheelchair. Okay, they're wearing Depends. Oh, or they have a catheter, okay, in their penis because they can't pee anymore. Okay, or that they're booked for surgery and they're told that they're going to have their spine fused, or they're going to have their hip replaced, or just know this, 97% of all surgery does not have to get done. Just know this, the medical system do great with emergency care, but they do really poorly with what? Chronic illness. Oh yeah, come on, seriously. You know, until you want to take massive personal action in learning how to love and care for yourself, you're going to be suffering for the rest of your life. And you know what? The craziest thing is that what people don't get is actually the suffering, okay, starts off in the invisible, starts off in the emotional, because the psychological rules the biological, but that's not trained. That's not trained in school, anywhere, not in high school, not in university, not in medical school. It's not even trained in naturopathic colleges. The reality is by the time somebody finishes high school or even university, they still don't know hardly anything about the anatomy, not the real stuff that, guess what? Every disease, okay, has crystallization, calcification, scar tissue formation, and that leads to inflammation. And the inflammation leads to mutation because a lack of 35% of oxygen within a cell will create what they call cancer, we call stage 4 inflammation. So the reality is this, we pull off miracles all the time. Oh yeah, people think I'm cocky. They, say you're a quack or you're cocky or who do you think you are? It's one thing is that I really get, okay? If the majority of the population believe it, okay, and the minority of the minority come out and say something different, well, then you're a quack. The reality is this, if you just understood this, old age is a scar tissue issue. It's a displaced calcium issue. And if you understood that the medical system are not in healthcare, they're in drug care. And I'm not trying to put them down because for emergency care, nobody does any better. But when it comes to having any kind of joint problem, muscle problem, or even an organ problem, if you don't want the organ cut out or you don't want to have surgery, we know what we're doing. We don't cure things. We don't heal people. We give people what they're missing. Okay. All right. The thing is that we are stole some of the most valuable things. And the first thing is self-love and even self-care. I mean, take a look at people, they don't know how to look after themselves or look after anyone else. And everybody's just running off to emergency now. So I'm just going to go over a few things with you lightly. Okay. But just know this, you can program a whole nation to become drug addicts. You can program a whole nation to believe that if you get something cut out of you every 2 or 3 years, you're going to remain healthy. Just know this, that if you could create something unconsciously, you can reverse that consciously. And when somebody says to you that that's not reversible, go watch what I did It's a video called Reverse the Irreversible. It's a masterclass in my library, okay? Please go check things out. You have to do your own research. Sorry about the glare. I'm showing you a skeleton right now because this skeleton is mainly made out of calcium, correct? Well, just know this, and they know this too. The more fearful they make you, the more that they cause you to have inflammatory thoughts, and the more that they cause you to eat inflammatory foods, new, okay, processed, improved, I'm on the run, drive through, okay, all right? The more that you have inflammatory thoughts or an inflammatory diet, the more that you're going to pull calcium from wherever the problem is in your body. And guess what? Depending on the emotion that you're unable to process, the anger, the jealousy, the resentment, the shame, whatever it is, the guilt, okay? Depending on that emotion will depend on where you pull the calcium from the body. Now, remember, you can restore all calcium back into the body. You can have the bone structure of a healthy 30-year-old, even if in your 80s, if you actually knew what you were doing. And this is what we teach. Just know this, though. Every bit of calcium that you lose from your bones is to go and buffer down the blood that becomes acidic and the tissues that become acidic and the organs and the tendons and the ligaments that become acidic. So why does a woman have calcium stones in her breast? Well, because guess what? That's right before stage 4 inflammation sets in. You heard what I said. She's pulling so much calcium into her breast because there's so much inflammation to try to adjust the pH from it being so acidic, which will then create more inflammation, scar tissue formation, calcification. So the calcium keeps coming in as a ditch effort to try to balance things. Why do people get gallstones? Why do they get kidney stones? That's all a pre-cancer situation, or otherwise what we call a pre-stage 2, 3, 4 inflammation situation. Because you keep pulling the calcium from your bones because you're inflamed. So what most people don't realize is, they're going to pull calcium from their bones. They're going to create scar tissue. And understand something. You're going to get problems with your heart valve. Your heart valve will be calcified, or your heart will become full of scar tissue. And we know how to reverse it all. Between Wolf Non-Surgical, Cardio Med-Bed, Cellsonic, proper nutrition and diet, okay? And understand something, most people don't even know that they're pooping in their pelvis, and they're pooping in their pelvis, and that's because they have autoimmune disease because they have leaky gut, but there's no such thing. It's just leaky large intestine. And the reality is this: most people don't realize that they're actually getting antibiotics in all their animal products, okay? That glyphosate is found in even organic beer, which is Roundup, and in organic wine, which causes the destruction of leaky gut and leaky brain. So the reality is we're pooping into our system. And when we do that, then we create infection. Infection creates, again, inflammation. And then guess what? Your blood system wants to maintain its pH. And so you get hypercalcemia, okay? So we'll get all kinds of circulatory problems, all right? And the nervous system, somebody today said, my nerves are dead, okay? I had a C-section. And when I had the C-section, they cut the nerves. So I'm all numb down here. So we did the Cellsonic, we did the non-surgical, and she has total feeling back. Did you get that? Okay, nerves don't die. They get strangled by calcium and they get strangled by scar tissue. And guess what? One treatment, okay, whether you're talking about stenosis in the spine or you're talking about neuropathy in your legs, we may not be able to total reverse it, but we will with your help. We can do this. Teamwork, we can do it together. Remember something, I'm not trying to put down the medical system or any other healthcare out there, but guess what? We bring the thunder down. First thing is you got to be brave enough to tell the truth, don't you? And you got to also know that you're in the business to give people back their personal power on a personal level, which means you got to create a perfect day from them the moment they rise until they close their eyes. We give a money-back guarantee on the first treatment you get with non-surgical that we will do more in that treatment than all the other treatments combined. Is this a marketing gimmick? because Daryl wants to make more money? Or is Daryl just trying to actually say, look, I'll back up all my work, just like my son, Dr. Sage will. We'll back up our work, just like our other therapists that we teach all over the world. They'll back up their work with a money-back guarantee. I mean, people need to wake up. If the therapists that you're going to aren't able to do that, then there's a problem, isn't there? The lymph system. Well, you got to understand, you got 8 pints of blood, you got 12 quarts of lymph. Most people don't exercise anymore, and between the blue light and all the glicky, sticky foods, okay, this is getting jammed up and jelly tight. You know, we'll have people come into us and they'll have as big as an egg, the lymph node here, swollen, or it's under their arm, or it's in their groin, back of their leg. And with doing non-surgical and showing them other things, most of the time in the first treatment, we can bring that down by 80, 90%. I'm not making this up. I'm giving you a guarantee. Wolf non-surgical is the most amazing thing because it pulls the scar tissue apart, okay? It helps to loosen up the frozen calcium that's in the tissues. It helps to melt the crystallization from the lactic acid that actually is created in the tissues. So what do you think you're going to get? If you bring the flow back, if you bring perfect circulation, you're going to have perfect health. And everything is about electrical conductivity in the human body. So we know that every cell has 1.4 volts. We know that we have 50 trillion cells, so we have 700,000 volts in the human body. That's when you're healthy. That's when you got the flow. But what about all the blocks? What about all the blocks that you'll get, okay, that you'll get in your tissues, your organs, and your joints? And that's calcification, scar tissue formation. What about all the blocks? You know, you go to a massage therapist and they don't know that they have to get rid of those physical blocks. You go to a chiropractor, they don't know. Physiotherapists, they definitely don't know. I have a doctorate in acupuncture. And even when I was doing and getting my doctorate in acupuncture, I still hadn't totally figured this out. But I don't use acupuncture. I don't use massage therapy. I don't use colon therapy. I don't use sacrocranial. I use the things that are most important, and that is this. If you can get rid of the calcium block, the scar tissue block, you have a healing. Every block creates a swamp, okay? Because if you don't have proper circulation, you got stagnation. And when you got stagnation, you'll get putrefaction. You'll get infection, which is inflammation. Again, we're back to the same old thing, scar tissue, more scar tissue formation. How many people do you know have had surgery, okay, whether it's a hip, whether it's a spine, whether it's an ankle, whether it's anywhere in the body, and they say, yeah, I don't feel anything anymore because it's totally numbed out. They don't have any more pain, but they're stiff now. The more surgery you have, the more scar tissue you have, because surgery causes more scar tissue than anything else. And let me tell you something. Everybody's organs today are inflamed, they're infected, they've got scar tissue, they've got calcification in there. How would you like to be able to reverse it? But just know this right now. And I'm going to be putting you on notice. When the medical system says, this is all we can do, they're not lying. But I'm going to tell you something. If you can create it on an unconscious level, we're going to show you how to get rid of it if you want to be conscious and in the present moment and own it to want to get yourself well. And that's the truth. You know, the muscular system, we're made out of muscles. And guess what? Most people turn into beef jerky. Yes or no? Hey, Grandpa, you're like walking as stiff as a board. Did you hear about Susie? What? Oh, Susie has a fibroid in her breast. Oh, Jenny has a fibroid in her pelvis. Oh, did you hear about Jim? Okay. All right. He's getting a cane now because, you know, he can't put any pressure on his knee because he's bone on bone, but he's not bone on bone. He's not bone on bone. The cartilage is still there. Even if it was 10%, it'll grow back. You didn't know that, did you? You didn't know that it was calcification in your knee, bone on bone. It's not really bone on bone, did you? The doctors aren't lying to you. When they look in the x-ray, because of the calcium you pulled from the bones around your knee, you actually calcified it. Now, you know that you can get that calcium back into the bones and you can get the tissue to grow back, and we'll give you a money back guarantee. You don't need knee surgery or hip surgery. Same thing, bone on bone. Okay, or we got to fuse your spine. Okay, most people's spines are already fused due to the scar tissue, especially L3, L4, L5. That's the main surgery done. And most people's spines are already fused because of the scar tissue and the calcification. And guess what? We'll bring back, okay, movement and get rid of the pain and stiffness in the first treatment. Most people don't know that if you've got pain in your hips, you got pain in your groin, you got pain running down your legs, all you got to do is go in and work on the SI joints, Okay. And then work on the inside, in the front, by either side of the groin. No, most people don't know that. That's it. In 1 hour, you can take away the pain that somebody thought they either have cancer or that they're going to need surgery. All the practitioners that are out there mean the best. Problem is if they went to a government approved school, they're not going to get the best. I'm telling you, and this is not about anything except I've been in the business now for 43 years. You may not know me. You may not like my approach. You may not even like the sound of my voice. But who else is going to give you a money back guarantee and tell you that you're going to have your life back, that you're going to get rid of that limp, that you don't need that cane, you don't need that walker, you don't need those Depends and be peeing in your pants. Okay? You don't need to feel old. And when they tell you you're doing good for your age, just understand something. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay? All right? I'm telling you that people that actually get their chronological, biological age tested, they can be 60 and they'll say that, you know, you have the health of a 40-year-old. I mean, if you want this, you have to go for it. So I'm going to let my Dr. Sage Wolf, okay, come and talk to you about Wolf Non-Surgical, the technique, okay, and about the course that we teach. And even if you don't want to come to a course, you can always come to Extapa Zihuatanego to our DoD 5-star retreat. If you're interested, go to DoD5star.com. Or just know this, the Dr. Wolf will go anywhere around the world and he'll teach you, your wife, your family. He'll teach a clinic of practitioners. And we'll give you a money back guarantee that, you know what, that you can learn this technique and you can take a fibroid that's the size of an egg. And when you learn this technique, you're going to gently pull the scar tissue apart and you're going to reduce that by 30 to 50%. And that can be in the first treatment. And then if you can reach the person that everything's about electricity and everything is about bringing up the vibration in the body, and it's about the perfect day in detoxification, nutrition, hydration, go take a look at my pdgfree.com guide and give that a read. Write your questions down. And then come on when we have Q&As. We don't mind being challenged. And the reality is we need you to challenge us because anything new, people push it off to the side, don't they? It can't be true. So why don't you challenge something that maybe could be true that could change the rest of your life? Thanks for joining me.
And welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Sage Wolf, and I'm going to be going over the Wolf Non-Surgical. And so Dr. Wolf was just kind of going into it a little bit. Scar tissue crystallization and calcification. Not a lot of us have heard about it, but then here and there, we've aged, we've damaged our bodies, we've gone to the doctor, here and there they've done x-rays, they might have said something has some scar tissue wrapping around it. And so what is scar tissue? Scar tissue is technically, to a degree, your friend. Yes, of course, we have fibrous tissue that holds things together, but we are our own biggest enemy, in all honesty, because we constantly put ourselves in that sympathetic state, that fight or flight state, where I'm not in that parasympathetic. I'm not releasing my beautiful stress, my beautiful hormones and chemicals that I need on a daily basis. I'm releasing stress hormones and chemicals that are damaging my body. So how do I create scar tissue crystallization and calcification? Dr. Wolf was talking about one of the main holy grails of the body, and that's going to be your colon, your pelvis, that main general area where your large and small intestine hang out, because that's going to be where most of your detox organs are. And so that takes up the brunt of the load, because it's really weird when you see, and I make this analogy all the time, it's really weird when you see a car or a train go into a tunnel and it doesn't come out the other side. And I know throughout your lifetime, and even throughout my lifetime, there's been days where it's not just what you ate. That's why we teach this on all bases, from emotional to physical to nutritional, because I could eat really well today, but I was really, really stressed out. So my body was in contraction. So I actually wasn't in that parasympathetic state. So I wasn't able to let go as well. So I might have some of that waste stay behind and be a little bit more stagnant in my bowel. Or I could be eating really crappy but having a great time, but the thing is that my body's purging because of these toxins. There's like different like levels to it, and we place ourselves. We always try to think of just this one thing. Oh, it's just diet. It's not just diet. Oh, it's just I'm just under a lot of stress. It's not that, because you're under a lot of stress and then you're eating really bad and then you're not hydrating well and then you're staying in front of constant EMF where you're getting bombarded by blue light. So it's like a domino effect constantly that's just going to build up and be like overcompensating on your immune system. And then that's where you're going to become vulnerable. So how do we create scar tissue? Like I said, that abdomen and pelvis gets hit really hard because most of us, I would say 95% of the population, do not have a good diet. And it's not that we just don't have a good diet. Some people have a decent diet, but do they eat at the right times, or do they eat too much? Do they eat too little? Are they eating a good diet because of a specific reason and they're still judging themselves on a different level? So there's so many things that, like, I would rather why do you look at that like 90-year-old man who you can tell eats a lot of fast food, doesn't eat really healthy, drinks a bunch of beer, but you can tell he has all these aches and pains, but he walks around and he's okay. Like, he's still 90 years old. He doesn't have any major ailments going on. But then you have that like 35, 40-year-old vegan who goes to the gym 5-6 days a week, and they were just diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It's like, why does this stuff happen? Because that person wasn't happy with their lifestyle. They weren't in a parasympathetic. They weren't connecting to their creator, whatever you want to call that, God, spirit, Buddha, it doesn't matter. But we are all light energy beings. So if I'm not content with where I'm at, I'm not pleased with who I am, I'm not pleased with the life I am living, and I'm still trying to push that, even if it's negative or positive, it can have a positive or a negative outcome depending on how you react. So we have to constantly be mindful that I'm not being healthy because, oh, I have this disease or I have this problem. I want to be healthy because it makes me feel sharper. It makes my skin clear. It makes my mind clear. It makes my mood better. Like, it's a plethora of reasons why you want to do these things. You need to find multiple reasons to create like a blissful feeling, wherever that or whatever that looks like. And so scar tissue does start within the gut, because there lies, I would say, 85% of our immune system. You damage that day in, day out. And it's not that you had pizza this one day, or you had some wine tonight, or you drank this one weekend pretty hard. It's that you beat it up day in, day out, year after year, month after month. And that stuff, it adds up. And a little bit of poison over a long time is a lot of poison. And so your body just can't constantly eliminate this stuff over time. And just depending on the situation of where you're at and your age, as Dr. Wolf was saying, you have detox organs, you have a lymphatic system, but how backed up is it? And then are we still adding on top of this pretty much like waste pile that is just going to make you feel more putrefied, which can then lead to some cellular mutation? But so there lies my immune system. So over time, in that intestinal wall, you have this thing called a peritoneal. That peritoneal lining is pretty thin, and it replenishes itself every 7 days. But I know you just weren't healthy for 7 days, or I just know you weren't unhealthy for 7 days. This was months, years, decades of damage, or for very, very small amount of the population, maybe like great eating. But then that's why it does take time to actually restructure the gut itself. So that peritoneal replenishes itself every 7 to 10 days. But depending on your immune system, if I'm constantly eating bad foods, or I haven't eliminated the waste that is stuck within my bowel, that's what's seeping through that lining constantly. So then it's going to affect my surrounding abdominal organs in my abdominal cavity. And then that's going to cause more liver problems, stomach problems, pancreatic problems, appendicitis. It doesn't matter. It's all putrefaction. It's just where's the weakest link that is going. And that's why like endometriosis, prostate cancer, all this stuff is getting pretty rampant, because it is the soup bowl of the body. It's where the toxins are most stagnant. And then what is the number one joint surgery out there that is right now? That is going to be hip replacement. Hip replacement would be the number one. It's not that everybody out there is an athlete. It's that we have rotted out our large intestine. That putrefaction has then sat within that soup bowl in our pelvis, and then where's the next largest tissue that could be healthy that I could steal some nutrients from? That's going to be the hips. So I'm going to steal some calcium from the hips, because when our body feels like it's under attack, and now I'm going to explain how scar tissue is created. So when our body's under attack, if I go to the gym too hard and I get really sore, I fall down and I break a bone, my body has to send lactic and uric acid to the area. It just has to. And then it's also going to send magnesium and calcium to start like mending stuff together. But that lactic and uric acid, sure, that's normal. You feel a little sore, you feel a little tender, it's a little inflamed, totally normal. But you're not eating healthy. You're not hydrating properly. You're in a pissed off situation. I'm releasing all these negative chemicals that kind of poison us on a daily basis. We call it hack, because it's like you're hacking something up. And that's the histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. It's the silent killer. And so when you release that lactic and uric acid, that damage has been done. Lactic and uric acid goes to the area. That's fine. But if I stayed in a beautiful state in my happy daily dose, which is that dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, I know that my body is just going to go into a healing state, and I will heal faster, and I won't have like more emotional trauma stored within that tissue. But if I stay in that pissed off, angry state, oh, I'm all mad at the world, and this sucks and that sucks, then I'm releasing that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, which now it binds that lactic and uric acid. And so it turns it kind of like into a crystalline structure. That crystalline structure then kind of causes a little bit of like a circulatory block within the tissues, ligaments, and tendons. So it's not creating like a good enough flow. And if your body is not healthy enough, which most people don't get enough nutrients, like from the foods we eat, because it's garbage for what we're putting in our bodies. And even if you are buying organic and all this stuff, there is some supplements out there, some great nutraceuticals that you should be taking on a daily basis, because we're not getting enough of it. I'm not getting out in the sun enough. I'm not getting enough magnesium or B12 or any of this stuff. So there's certain supplementation that I know is like I'm not going to miss on it. Like I know my body wants that. And so if I don't have enough nutrients there, so if I do break a bone, or I do tearing in a tissue, or I snap a ligament, so my body goes to send stuff to heal that area. But if I don't have enough nutrients in myself, so not enough magnesium, not enough K2, not enough vitamin D, all this stuff to create a great healthy bone structure, I'm going to start feeling it from surrounding tissues, ligaments, joints, and bones. That's why osteopenia and osteoporosis is so big and rampant nowadays, because our bodies are very acidic. And then it's like, oh, I have to buffer down this beaver dam. I have to buffer down this beaver dam. I have to buffer down this beaver dam. But I don't have enough nutrients myself, so I'll just steal from the stuff that I kind of been storing it for a while. And then that undermines your immune system. So that is kind of how, so you create that crystalline structure. Once you've created that crystalline structure, then I have like a little blockade. Sure, you have like little snapping, you know, when you kind of go to bend down and sometimes things pop. Sometimes, yes, it is just nitrogen buildup within the synovial fluid. So when you go to like crack your neck and things pop, that's totally fine. That's normal. It's all good. But if you're feeling like things like snapping over the bone, like I have damaged like my ankles, my wrists, and I have a little bit of scar tissue in them. So if I go on specific angles and I bend, it's not the bone snapping, but I can feel a little tendon snapping over the bone because I have some crystallization and scar tissue there holding it, stopping it from moving properly. And so things like that, I have crystallization there. But if I continue tearing, I don't pay any attention to this. I let it build up. I keep damaging my wrists. I keep getting in accidents and blah, 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 and allowing that scar tissue to build up. It goes from crystallization to a scar tissue formation. So you're getting actual like harder little bits of like almost little knots that you would feel. So a good area that generally most people feel like a scar tissue mass is going to be in the trapezius muscle coming up into the neck a little bit. And you're going to feel like, oh, it's so thick. That muscle doesn't feel like it has nice subtle structure to it, to where it's like nice, soft, and malleable. If your tissue feels like it's rock hard and bound up, then I know you have crystallization and probably scar tissue formation in it. And then if you let that grow long enough and strong enough, people can have bone spurs, you can have bunions, you can even build up areas of scar tissue in your neck where it feels so thick that it feels like bone, but it's not bone. It is now calcification. So you've put so much calcium there, so much lactic and uric acid has been bound up there for such a long period of time. We've literally taken displaced calcium from the surrounding bone structure and we've created a knot because it's my body's way of protecting itself. It was like, I've been in pain for so long, you do nothing about this, you still live in fear with your shoulders shouldered up, you're not breathing, you're not letting go, you're not hydrating properly. I have to do this for your benefit. And so, yes, there is a way of unstructuring that bad structure, and that is with Wolf Non-Surgical. And so we go in lovingly with our elbows. It can be painful. People are like, oh, like, I hear it's very, very painful. I work to your pain threshold, but the thing is, everybody in our lives, even myself at times, and yes, I don't want to be in agony. That sounds like hell. Nobody wants to be in agony, but we all run from pain. When pain is actually telling us like, hey, we have to wake up and pay attention because there's an alarm system going on. But you're like, no, I need another Advil. No, I need to take some codeine. No, I need to just numb it out. The thing is that it's like a house on fire that's going unchecked. You haven't dealt with the actual situation. And so if you have pain, say, oh, thank you, body, for allowing me to know that there's something that I need to be more aware of, and start paying attention. And then we take action in whatever way necessary. And so, yes, I will push you. I will find your pain threshold, but I'm going to always find that like kind of pain and love balance. But we work in with our elbows and I go in and we use the surrounding bones as well to help lovingly pull that tissue apart that has been so bound up for so many years. So if it is calcified, it can take 7, 10, 15 treatments. If you have a scar tissue formation, you've been struggling with something for a year or two, in the first treatment, we'll get you 50% better. Second, third treatment, things do slow down, but then I'm going to be teaching you all these structures to create a stronger environment for that body part. So for that shoulder, for that low back, that's where we would say like, acupuncture, chiropractic, physiotherapy, all this stuff, it has its place. It is amazing, but are you doing it in the right structure? Like, why would I constantly go for a year and a half and book in and have this booked up with the chiropractor to go in once, twice a week to get adjusted? Why the hell am I not getting better yet? It just doesn't make sense to me. And so why not remove the scar tissue? If your body still feels like it's like out of alignment, let's get that old dehydrated tissue back to connective tissue and then go get aligned. There's nothing to pull you back out of alignment. But you keep going to get readjusted, you hit a red light, you stress out, you're going to just tweak yourself back out of a position. That's why it's like 3-5 days. I don't go to a massage to say, hey, this is going to fix my really bad issue. No, I go to a massage normally to stimulate some lymph, help some lymph drainage, and to relax myself and get myself into the nice parasympathetic mood. But if you're going for a massage to just completely restructure that joint, good luck. And then we have acupuncture. Dr. Wolf has his doctorate in acupuncture. And in all honesty, the last time I saw him do it, I was probably like 16. And so acupuncture, if you have all these scar tissue blockages and I'm using these needles, it's kind of still hitting a wall because it's too much of a mass buildup. Like, what if I have calcification there? I'm getting I don't really have much sensation in my foot. Yes, we can help different nerve pathways to get sensation, but are you removing the scar tissue that is choking it off? So there's levels to this stuff. And I'm not saying this stuff doesn't have its place. It is amazing work. These are amazing therapies. I think all type of holistic therapies are amazing, but everything has its place. So if you don't get to the root cause, which is the scar tissue crystallization and calcification, you will never get rid of it. And that's why we do certifications all around the world. For the past 2 years, we've been doing the world tours. We've been going all around to different countries, different states, different provinces and training. And it's pretty intense because you're just jumping from place to place every 3 weeks to 4 weeks to 5 weeks. And I personally love it, but it gets tiring jumping from place to place. So we will be that's why we opened up the DoD 5-star World Healing and Training Retreat, because we want people to come out and it be a little bit more personable, but I will still always myself go on the road and train you in your clinic, because I might have 6 practitioners who want to get trained. I don't want to fly them all out, but it's very easy for you to fly myself out, and I'll train you in the comfortability of your own home if you're immobile and I'm coming out to work on a family member like so, or train you in like a situation like that. But we will still do trainings around the world. It's just right now they're back to back to back to back. We have like my course coming up in 3 days in Stuart, Florida. That's the last one for this year in the United States. And then we're going to be, I'll go over dates and places afterwards. But I've been in the United States training this year 4 times. Generally, I think in the future, it's only going to be maybe once or twice a year, once or twice a year in Canada, once or twice a year in Mexico. And that'll be for the New World Practitioner trainings. It's just really hectic jumping from place to place to place to place. And so if you're ever wanting to come out, check out DOD5star.com and you can get certified in either the New World Practitioner training. You can take them separately if you wanted. You could just take the Whole Life Coach if you were just interested in that. And that's learning like the emotional, the nutritional, and just like getting in touch with yourself so then you can help others, because it all begins internally with you. You're number one. And then I teach the Wolf Non-Surgical. I've been teaching Wolf Non-Surgical now for a decade, and I don't say it because, like, if I liked something else, I would do something else. If I thought there was better body work out there, I would incorporate it. I would do that body work. I've never seen such results with this within myself, within my clients, within my practitioners that I've trained. You'll hear it in the testimonies that I have like throughout this week while I'm doing the course. You guys are going to see me hop on and do little one-a-days with people, and you're going to see how they change and how their physical body changes in such a short period of time. And so it is a 12-day course. We go from head to toe. You get worked over twice, like every body part gets worked twice. And you are working for about 35 hours. You're getting about 35 hours of body work, and then you're learning for about 35 hours. It is a pretty intensive hands-on course, but anybody can do it. The youngest kid I've ever trained was 11, and the oldest was 86. And so there is no limitation to it. The only limit is yourself. Let's see what is next. Yeah, so Dr. Wolf just finished up with the Whole Life Coach, but we will be heading off to Australia next. Boom. All right. So together we are stronger. And after I finish the Wolf Non-Surgical training, guys, Lorraine will be training the pain-free pelvic for women. And that is, I recommend every woman doing this course. Your pelvis is the holy grail. It brings life into this world. It is numero uno, guys, girls. And so it's really important to know that, like, it's not something to be shunned away. It's not something to be like, and I'm not saying you're afraid of it, but it's like, it's time to get truly in tune with your root chakra, your holy grail. It is your power, girls. And the thing is, it's the root cause of all disease. I have painful periods, painful lovemaking. I got endometriosis, any of that stuff. It doesn't need to happen. It's a scar tissue issue. Dr. Wolf and myself have already gone over that. We've allowed this beautiful colon that we were given when we were born. And you know what? It's not your fault a lot of the times. Our parents didn't know. They didn't eat so well. So is the program that you were raised on, Kraft dinner, macaroni, fast food. I get it. There's a lot of parents out there who just weren't being mindful personally. And all this stuff, and I don't even want to say all this shit food has been created within a small amount of time that we really haven't seen the elongated reactions from it. And it's like, this exactly does that until I would say within the past 20 years. Now we're starting to see the repercussions of some of the crappy food that we put out there. And so let's be more mindful about what our next steps are. It's not about what we did in the past. There's no guilt over that. There is no shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's just do better right now. You're perfect already, but strive for more. So the pelvic restoration for women, I recommend it to everyone because it is your holy grail. That'll be coming up on June 25th. That is after my course. From then on, Dr. Wolf has a lecture, and that'll be in Toronto, Ontario. That'll be a day with the doc, and that is on June 23rd. And you can contact Magdalena or go to braveheartnation.com to reserve your spot because space is limited. Australia lectures, Dr. Wolf and myself will be training in Australia, but we will be lecturing all around, well, he'll be lecturing all around Australia. I will just be focusing on Melbourne, but you're going to do Heal Yourself, Heal Your Family, and that'll be in Sydney, Thursday, July 18th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Then he'll be in Melbourne from July 21st from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That'll be a day with the doc. You'll be doing Heal Yourself and Heal Your Family in Brisbane, Saturday, July 27th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. A day with the doc in Byron Bay, and that is July 28th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then Heal Yourself and Your Family in Coffs Harbour on July 31st from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's the Stuart Floor. So these are the courses that we are hosting, pretty much the newer practitioner training for the last World Tour we are doing of 2024. And so we're pretty much finishing up in Stuart, Florida right now. And then from then on, we will be in Coffs Harbour for the Whole Life Coach, August 7th to 15th. The Wolf Non-Surgical, that is with me from August 17th to the 28th. And then we are doing the Pelvic Restoration for Women from April 30th to September 1st. And then we are finishing off in October in Ixtapas de Guatanejo, Mexico for the new War Practitioner training once again. The Whole Life Coach will be October 9th to the 17th, Wolf Non-Surgical October 19th to the 30th, and Pelvic Restoration November 1st to the 3rd. As we were saying though, guys, I can go around and train anywhere in the world. It doesn't really matter where you are. You could be in, I've trained in India, I've trained in Hong Kong, Argentina, all throughout the States, Colombia. It doesn't matter. I will come to you in the comfortability of your own home, in your health center, in your clinic. It doesn't matter. I am here for you. I think everybody, at least one person in each family, should know Wolf Non-Surgical, because it is amazing to feel amazing. And why do I have to grow old and feel old? No, I don't want to. I know I'm going to age. I know this meat suit is going to pass. But I want to feel vital until it goes. I don't want somebody helping me to sit down. I don't want somebody helping me to get up. I want to be able to go on walks and to go hiking and to go swimming and do all the things I love, maybe just a little slower when I'm 80 and 90 than I do now, and maybe a little bit more gentle. But I don't want to feel limited, so don't limit yourself. It is a scar tissue issue. Scoliosis, carpal tunnel syndrome, fibromyalgia, that bone-on-bone knee. You have all these athletic injuries. You're struggling with migraines every night. Do not let your ailment be your crutch to say, hey, look at me. And I'm not saying we all do it. But you know what? Over time, we allow ourselves to become our own worst enemy. We become weaker than what we truly are. You deserve the world. Be brave, take it by the hand, and run with it. I just hope everybody has a beautiful morning, evening, afternoon. I love you all very much, Bravehearts. We will see you in the next one. Bye for now.